Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Samach Gimel, Second Ksubas. So we left off at the bottom of Samach Beis, on the Beis, 4 lines in the bottom. Rabbi Akiva, Rayid ben Kalva Sibur. Rabbi Akiva, I don't think exactly he was Rabbi Akiva time, but he was a shepherd for Kalva Sibur, who's a very wealthy man. He saw that his daughter, Kalva Sibu's daughter, was very tznius, was very appropriate, had a lot of good milas. So Amrle, she also took notice to Rabbi Akiva. So he says, if I go ahead and I be Mekadesh to you and get married to you, will you go off to learn yeshiva? So he told her, yeah. So Aktishe, like Betsina, right? So they tried to go ahead and get married privately. The Shadarte, right? And she sent them off. It's a Shama via Africa Mivese. So the father, so Kalva Sibur, heard about this and he tossed his daughter out of the house. And not only that, so Adrahana min nichsek. And he was a very wealthy man, and he says, made a nether that she should not benefit from any of his nechas. Also, Yosef Trey, sorry, Shinin. So he went that and he learned for 12 years in Yeshiva Rabbi Akiva, the Bei Rab, and Yeshiva Rab. So Kiyasa, Aisi Bahade Trey, sorry, Alfei Tamide. So when he was coming back, so he says, okay, my 12 years is up, time to go back. He and his Tamidim wanted to go with him. There were 12,000 Tamidim. The Shaman Saba. So he heard that she was talking to somebody, he was right outside the door about the knock, and he heard a conversation going on, the Kamar Law. And he told her, At Kama Ka Kama de Beres Amunas Chaim. How long are you going to go ahead and be, live, be mana, while you're living? In other words, you've been living alone for 12 years. So Amrle, she's turned back to the Saba. She said, "Iladidi, was that to me? Taisi Yasib Treisai Sheni Achrini." Was that to me? I tell him to go back for another 12 years, right? It's not enough. So Amar, so he says, so hearing this, Rabbi Akiva says, Amar, Rishus Kavdino. So okay, so it sounds like I got the green light for another 12 years. So Ada Azav Yasib Treisai Shani Achrini. So he went there and he learned another 12 years with Beirab and Shiva Rab. Kiyasa. I said it was time to return after now a total of 24 years. So Aisi Bahadi Esim Alfei Tamide. He brought with him 24,000 Tamidim. Shama to be sealed. Yeah. So behind I don't know if they let them in. So what happens? So Shama to be sealed. So she heard that he was coming to go ahead and she was returning home. So Amrullah, Shivsa, Shili Mani Levushe Bichsi. Right, so he said to her, maybe you should go ahead and dress up. Your husband is now coming, right? He's now, he's after 24 years. So Amra Lahu, so she told him, no, there's no need for me to go ahead and get dressed up. Right, person goes, he knows the soul, right? He knows he's not looking for my exterior. He's only looking for my interior. So Kimati Lagabe. So when he finally got there, Nafla al-Aqla, she fell on her face. Coming that Shaki the Kare. So she kissed the bottom of his feet, right? She kissed, I guess, his feet to greet him. So Havikam Adavchvile Shame. So the Shamish saw what was going on here. And the Shamish says, No, get away from the Rebbe. Samarlu, Shafkua. So he told him, says, no, don't stop the Shamish. Shali, the Shalachem, Shalahu. Right, all the schusim that I have, all the schusim that you guys have, all to learn here. Shalom, that's for her. She was the one who allowed me to go ahead and learn for 12 years, 24 years. So Shama Avua Dasa. So Shama Avua. So this was what happened in their house. Now finally, Kalva Savua. I heard about there was this great man who came back in town. Dasa Gava Rabba Lamasa came to the city. So Amar Iza Lagabe. Maybe I'm going to go to him, to the Rebbe, right? Afshar, the Mefer Nidrai, right? I have a nether, my daughter, I sort of feel bad about. And I want to go ahead and nullify my vow after 24 years. So I'll go to this great Rav. So also the Gabe, so came before Rabbi Akiva, not knowing he was his son-in-law. Amalei Adaita the Gabe Rabba, Minadarta. So Rabbi Kiva said, right, did you make this nether prohibiting your daughter from any hana, even knowing that perhaps that if your son-in-law would be a big common chacham? Summer late. So he said back there, Kiva, afilu perak echad, afilu halacha achas. Even if he just learned he was a regular balabas, he learned one perak, he learned one halacha, still be good enough. Summer late, anahu. So he says, okay, I guess he's not to the nether. He says, anahu. Right, it's me, right? I'm your son-in-law. So nafal api v'nashki al kare. So he fell to the ground and he kissed his feet. V'yayvle palga mimleina, and he gave him half of his money. So that was the Maisa of Rabbi Kiva. And Barti the Rabbi Kiva of the Lei Ben Azai Hachi, and also the daughter of Rabbi Kiva, right, did the same thing with Ben Azai. I guess she married Ben Azai. It's in the yeshiva. That people say Rachila Bas and Rachila Azla, right? A ewe follows its a rachel follows a rachel, follows you. Azla ka'ayte iba ka'ayte barta. Right, the way of the mother, just like the way the daughter, right, the wife of Rabbi Kiva, right, did the same thing, or I guess her daughter did the same thing as her mother did.
They married 25 years before she was born.
What?
They married 25 years.
Oh, right. Maybe they're Mekadosh in the beginning and then do that. I don't know. Yeah, I assume they had to, make the. Right. Yeah. So if Yosef parade the Rabba Shadri Avoy Lebei Rav the coming of Yosef. So if Yosef, the son of Rabba, sent Avoy Lebei to the Bei Rav the coming of Yosef to go learn before Rav Yosef. So Paskale Shishani. He says, okay, he got him married off, and he says, okay, now you got 6 years to learn in Kolo, right? Kiavi Talas Shani. After 3 years, Matam Ali Yom Kippur. He says, maybe I'll go home. Amar Aisu. I'm going to go ahead and say, he said, it's been 3 years. I'm going to go home and see my wife and I guess, kids or whatever, the family. So Shama Avui. So his father heard he was coming back early. So Shakal Mana, he took his rake or something, a pole to go ahead and hit him with it. But Nafik Lape came out, stormed out at him. He saw his son come back after 3 years, supposed to be 6 years. So Amar Lei, son of Sechad is Karta. Right, your zona. You remembered your zona. Is that why you're coming back? You're coming back because for your bodily needs. So some say Amarle Yonasecha Niskarta. Right, you've been like a dove, right, who's faithful to its mate. Right, I guess this is a much nicer way of saying it. Right, Yonasecha Niskarta. If you remember your dove, that's why you returned after 3 years, not 6. So each route, I guess they were arguing on this, and Loimar Ivsik, and I guess it's right before Ma'alid Yom Kippurim, and they did not go ahead and have their Sudam Afsekas, right? Because I guess they were involved with this discussion here, and that's what occurred there. Fine.
Father-in-laws.
Anayim Mishnah. Hamoredes al Baila. If a woman goes ahead and rebels against her husband, we'll soon see what that means. Right? We decrease, we deduct from her ksuba Shiva dinarim b'Shabbos, 7 dinarim per week, 1 dinar a day. Yehuda Shiva tarpiikim. Now we deduct 7 tarpikin, not 7 dinarim. You have to see what that is. The Gemara will explain. So how much she go down? So right? She basically has 200 zuz credit, and you deduct until you get to there. Once you get there, you throw her out. No, you keep going down. She gets the negatives because in case she goes ahead and she inherits land or assets from other places, those will now be seized by the husband who she has rebelled against. So to one who rebels against his wife. We add to the ksuba 3 dinarim per week. 3 tarpikin. Fine, that was the Mishnah. Now, I read this. What does it mean she rebelled? Rav Huna Amar Mitashmish Amita. Rav Huna says from Tashmish have relations. Rabbi Yasi, so now she refused to have relations. Rabbi Yasi, Rabbi Chanina Amar Mimalacha from Malacha. Mimalacha Tanan. So sorry, Mimalacha. Now Tanan. So let's take a look at our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says, one who goes out and rebels against his wife. Now, so So if you say he rebels against the wife, now he refuses to have relations with his wife, so it makes sense, right? With the relations both ways. But to work, right? He doesn't work for her. Now, as we know that she has to work for him. Her wages go to him. So therefore he can demand her to work. And she says, I'm not working. So therefore there's rebelling. But he doesn't work for her. So the says, no, right? Part of the rule of Ksuba is they has to go ahead out and support her and feed her, right? And provide for her, right? And if he says, I refuse to provide for you, that is considered to be rebelling. If the husband says, I'm not going to go ahead and support you or feed you, that he has to divorce immediately and get the ksuba, not this whole deduction, right? Or add to the ksuba. So our answer is no. Right? We don't just go ahead and say, okay, divorce her immediately. We try and go ahead and talk him into it and try to convince him to go ahead and provide for your wife and so on and so forth. And this way, and meanwhile, the penalty might be adding up, whatever it's 3 denarim a week, whatever that is, that might occur. But that's not separate from this halacha. Now, yes, he has to go ahead and divorce her, but we don't like divorce. So we try to convince him to stay, and that process will take a time. Fine. 4 lines in the bottom, 2 dots. Meisvei. So obviously, all these cases of rebelling, whether it doesn't make a difference, whether it's in a rusa or of a nesua, the afilu nida, the afilu chayla, the afilu shomeres yavam. Any of these cases of rebelling, any of these women, an arusa, a nesua, a nida, a chayla, and a shomeres yavam. So skip the parentheses. Now, bottom line.
Rusa,
in terms of relations, doesn't have right. So right,
get relations.
right. She says, but she refuses.
Nida.
She refuses to. So we'll get to Nida. The Arusa, as Rashi says, Sha'amra lo yanasa. Right. Basically, she's a Arusa. Basically, refuses to do the Nesua. Right. So that's her rebellion. Now, bottom line. It makes sense according to the opinion who says that what is rebelling means that they're rebelling for a tashmish. Because a sick person can still be tashmish. Ella, but but if you say that we're talking about rebelling means they refuse to do to work for the other one, so chayla bas malachi is a sick person, right? Is she fit to go ahead and work? She's not fit to work. She's sick. She can't work. So what does it mean? A sick woman, right, who refuses to go to work, she can't go to work, right? She's sick. So Ella rather the Gemara says mitashmish kuli amalei pligi. Everyone agrees that if she refuses tashmish or he refuses tashmish like kuli amalei pligi to have him this is considered to be rebelling. So ki pligi, where do they argue? Mimalacha. They argue separately if refusing to do malacha is considered to be rebelling. One says refusing to work is not considered to be rebelling. The other one says no, that rebelling is considered to be, not doing or refusing to work is considered to be berevis. Fine. 5 lines from the top, 2 dots. Gufa. If one who goes ahead and she rebels against her husband, we would go ahead and deduct from her 7 dinar per week. Rabbi Yehuda says Shiva tarpikin, right? 7 tarpikin, and so that was which we saw in our Mishnah, right? You deduct as you go along. Rabbi Seinu chazu v'nino. However, the Rabbi Seinu they say something else. They announce, right? Cause almost to embarrass her, and therefore, if she knows she's going to be embarrassed, perhaps she'll stop with this behavior. Right? So we go ahead and we announce 4 weeks in a row, Zoach Hazol, the Sheikhla Bezdin. And we said to the Bezdin, Haviyadasha, Felix Simasechem, Meya Mana Hisada. And you should know that you're going to lose your entire ksuba for this rebellion, for refusing to have relations. Achase Arusa doesn't make a difference whether you're Arusa, who refuses to get married, or Nesua, the Afilu Nida, the Afilu Chayla, the Afilu Shemeres Yavam, all these apply. So that was the Rabbi Seinu. So the first one was we just immediately started deducting, and the Rabbi Seinu get into, hey, we'll make an announcement, right, and for 4 weeks, and then otherwise, she'll lose it all. So I'm related to Shmuel Nida bas tashmishi. So what do you mean? So it says over there if she's a Nida and she refuses tashmish, so she's a Nida. Right? Now it's different. A person knows that, okay, when she's not a nida, then I'll be able to have relations. So that, in his mind is okay, right? Even though he's not able to have relations. But if it's something that he can't do because she rebels, she refuses, so therefore that's something which is a divorceable offense. So I remember we only go ahead and announce and Bate Knesset about the Midrash when there are many people there. And I'm Rava. We say 4 weeks one after the other when people go ahead and congregate. That is referring to the Bate Knesset and Bate Midrashos, which people are in, mainly on the Saturdays on the day of rest and not during the week. And we sent 2 messages to her from Beis Din. One before, hey, notice from Beis Din, by the way, we're about to announce you're rebelling against your husband, so either change or we're going to announce it. And one afterwards, we already announced 4 times, we said, and now basically you're going to lose out on your ksuba. And Dorish Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda, halach Rav Seina, halach is like Rav Seina. So that was Rav Nachman bar Chizda. We got to get some of these names from that. Now, Amar Rava says Rava, Hi Burka, right? This is a mistake, right? You're wrong. The halach is not like the Rav Seina. And Amar Le Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, my Bruch say, well, what was his mistake? So Amri say Nilei, I said the halach, Mishmei the Gava Rabbins, a great man, right? And Amri say Nilei. And I said before, and who was that? Umanu, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, right? He is like Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina. So Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, others agreed that halachas k'Rabbeinu that we make the announcements 4 weeks in a row and are prevented. Now we just automatically start deducting. And who does Rava say like? Who said, hey, don't say the halachas like Rava say that you made a mistake? Who does Rava say like? V'ihu kaman, Savar, kiha, like this. Diitma Rava, Rav Sheshes. Rava said the name of Rav Sheshes. Halacha nimlachin ba. So the halach is that we go ahead and we try to convince her, right? We try to go ahead and change her mind. And therefore, when we change her mind, we also, begin to deduct as we change her mind. No, we don't go ahead and try to change her mind. Rather, we just make announcements, basically tell her that 4 weeks in a row, if she doesn't change, then she loses it all. So, and what's the case of this Moredis? Amar Meimar to Amra Beina Le Umitzar Le. I want to be married to him, but I like torturing him. So therefore, such a case is considered Moredis. She doesn't want to get divorced, right? She doesn't want to get divorced. She'll live in this house, but she refuses, right, to act like a spouse.
The word for that starts with a B.
Aval Amra, right? Aval Amra Ma'isalai, but she says, why is she refusing to have relations with her husband? He's disgusting to me, right? He's Ma'isalai. Lo Kaifinan Lo. We don't force her. And as Rashi says, big machlokes over here, Rashi says, right? I'm just going to read the Rashi. She says, he's gross to me. I don't care about him or his or this ksuba. It's not about the money. It's not about him. Right? We don't force her to stay with him. Rather, she can live without a ksuba. You want out? You can go out. He's disgusting to you. That's fine. You're not leaving, based upon something that he did wrong. So therefore, this is your choice. You want to leave, you can leave now without your ksuba. And she says, so therefore, if she wants out, then she can get out without a ksuba. No, we do force her to go ahead and stay. We try to convince her to make things right, to stay. One time it was a Maisa, and they forced Marzucha. And I guess Marzucha was the one who basically says, no, you can't leave him right away. It's not so disgusting, so on and so forth. But Rabbi Chanina Misura. And from there came Rabbi Chanina Misura. So the zechus of staying together came a great Talmid Chacham. However, that's not necessarily the general case. Hasam Siyat D'Shmaya Habi. Right over there was a special Siyat D'Shmaya, therefore, I guess, because of Marzucha. So therefore, that was the reason why there was a fuss there. And Kolasi Rav Zvid Imrasa, so I guess the daughter-in-law of Rav Zvid, Imrada, so she rebelled against her husband, against the son of Rav Zvid. Shira, so she went and she took one of her old silk clothing, And Yosef, so basically, some removable assets. So Yosef, Sutra of Ravashi, Yosef Rav Gamda Gabayu, and Sutra and Ravashi were sitting over there, and they were sitting by Rav Gamda Gabayu. He was by them. Yosef Karmi, they were sitting, and they taught Marda Hisida Belusa. Kaiman. So he says, if she rebels, not only does she loses everything, she loses her ksuba, she even loses her old clothing, right? Her bloisa knows this silk. You got to take off that silk, that dress, right? Go put on something else, put on something simple, but leave that because that's has value. So Amar Rav Gamda says Rav Gamda was sitting by them. What? Because Rav Zvid, the father-in-law, who is basically now told that he's allowed to go ahead and keep the silk garment that she has to remove, because he's a great man. You're changing the halacha on his behalf. The halacha is not like that, right? So Gemara says, what do you mean? Right? Because Rav Kahana he said that Rabbi asked this question: what's the halacha if she rebels and she's wearing a silk garment, right? A worn-out silk garment? Does she have to give back her used clothes or not? And it was never answered. But you seem to say, because there's a Zvi family, you got to go ahead and give it back. It seems like you're not ruling the proper halacha. And Ikadami, some of a slightly different version. Yes, they were sitting and he said, Marda, if she goes and rebels, she doesn't have to go ahead. She doesn't lose out on her used clothing. Similar Rav Gamda says Rav Gamda was sitting by them. The Shund Rav Zvid Gavarabahu Achbisale, Ladina, Alea, right? Because he's a great man, you're going to switch the halacha, right? Against him, and he's not going to argue with you. Some Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana says, Rav asked this question, what do we do with the used clothing? And it was not answered. So how could you rule that she walks away with it? So now that we don't know, because Rav asked the question was answered away, the halach is Tofsa loy mafkinan mina. If she goes and she takes the used clothes, right, then we don't remove for her. Loy Tofsa. If she doesn't grab it, loy avinala, then we don't give it to her. In other words, we're passive, right? Right? And however, we let him stick around for 12 months. Agita, right? Another for 12 months, perhaps she'll go ahead and change her decision. During those 12 months, she doesn't get any support from the husband during those 12 months. All right, we'll stop here. Have a wonderful day. We will continue tomorrow.
Okay.
Shkoyach.